Did you have any problems with him?
No.
Okay.
Other than he gave me the wrong name.
And you're not going to charge him with false? You've done that before, Morris. You've already had charges of lying to police officers. It's better to be honest. So he was in somebody's apartment or just on the vicinity of the apartment?
Him and several of his friends were out smoking marijuana on the front porch of the Cloisters apartment complex.
Okay, are you high right now? Were you smoking marijuana today?
No. He tells me he wasn't smoking. There was about 7 of them.
I'm just gonna have the nurse look at him real quick to determine that he's not under the influence. They found him today because he was smoking marijuana with his friends and they ran all their names. At first, Morris was lying about his identity because he knew he had a warrant.
You didn't take any drugs? Why are your eyes like that?
Like what?
All slanty and red.
They red.
They're in.
We're gonna need medical clearance. We can't accept him like this.
She believed that he was under the influence of marijuana.
All right, we'll be back.
Thank you. So prior to him being admitted to our facility, he will require a medical clearance. So Maryville Police Department's taking him to the hospital where they're gonna conduct a drug test. So positive for
Yep, that's
marijuana?
it. But we knew that was gonna happen.
Do you feel any of the effects of marijuana still? No? He was released off a house arrest in April of this year, and then he failed to come to his court date in July. So he didn't appear in court. His mother did, his counselors did, his probation officer did, but Morris was on runaway status. Why didn't you go to court on the 24th, but everybody else did?
I'm scared.
You were scared? Did you get a chance to talk to your probation officer prior to going to court?
My probation officer, he was talking about sending me to placement. I was like, no. That's why I ain't go to court, because they said they're going to send me to placement for 2 years.
Commitment to the Department of Corrections is the harshest punishment there is. Many of the kids that pass through LCJC are committed to placement facilities. Facilities that are equipped to rehabilitate them and help them get treatment for whatever issues may have led them down the path of trouble in the first place.
I can't even control my anger. I've been angry all my life. Last time that I was here, because me and my mom got into it, and I punched a hole in the wall.
But it makes it worse when you don't appear in court. Now you present yourself as a flight risk. You understand that? You just make it worse for yourself if you run away from your problems.
And I remember back, like 5 years ago, my grandma told me, if you keep frowning, your face gonna be stuck like that. And I think she wasn't man.
The last time Morris was arrested, it was for damaging his mother's home in a fit of rage. When he didn't show up for a subsequent court hearing, a bench warrant was issued. Yesterday, he was picked up on that warrant, and now he'll have to face the judge. But first, he'll have to face his mother.
So I can get out tomorrow.
I don't know. Do you think you should? Why?
I didn't even do nothing.
You didn't do anything? You didn't go to court?
I know, I was scared.
You were scared?
Because they said they was gonna give me 2 years of placement.
You should have just gone to court.
I'm going to court now, though.
Mm-hmm. You don't have a choice. They told me they took you to the hospital. You test positive for marijuana, so you've been smoking, huh?
I was gonna help.
You don't know. What you smoking that for?
I thought that was gonna help for stress.
That you feel like you need something to calm you down? Then that's what you should have been telling the counselor and the therapist, if that's how you feel. This is what I'm talking about. The things you're telling me, you need to tell them. You may have a chemical imbalance, who knows? There's medicine for that, and people are not crazy who take it.
I told people they ain't gonna help.
How do you know you keep going with the negative train of thought? What makes you so, what makes you get angry like that?
Just stuff people do.
Even when people don't do, when things don't go your way, you stay angry.
That's what I'm saying. Being in here is gonna make it worse and worse. I can feel it right now.
You keep telling yourself it's gonna get worse than it is.
I keep punching walls, man.
Punching it for what? Have you been praying? Why you crying?
I'm crazy.
You what?
I'm crazy.
You feel like you're going crazy?
I know I'm crazy.
You are not. I hate to see you like this. Who do you want me to bring to court? Nobody? Just me? Can I tell you something? I love you to death, but you do need some help with your anger. Some professional help. And I don't think you're crazy, but I think something inside is bothering you. What you think?
I want to be with my family.
You want to be with your family? Then you're going to be with your family. Wherever you go, we coming. And if they send you far, we coming there too. Okay?
You feel different when I cry. I ain't cried in a long time.
It's good to cry sometime to relieve stress. There's nothing wrong to cry. There's nothing wrong.
Come on out, Morris. Talk to you.
Oh, hey, Morris, how are you? Don Ruck, I'll be your lawyer for today.
Morris was picked up on loitering and suspicion of smoking marijuana. But what's far more important to today's hearing is his tendency to not show up for hearings. He'll meet with Don Ruck to discuss strategy.
Today's hearing, the court's going to want to hear a little bit about what happened. They're going to want to make a decision whether or not to release you today. What do you want to have happen?
I want to get released.
Okay. Did you test positive for marijuana when you came in? You did?
Yeah.
All right. The court's going to ask you why you were using marijuana. Do you know how you'd answer that?
Yeah, I was going to tell them I was in a car with people. They were smoking marijuana. They let me hit it.
Okay. I'll tell you, one of the things that I note is that the probation department's recommending that you stay locked up. All right? We have our work cut out for us. The difficult challenge as a public defender for a child is distinguishing between what's in the child's best interest and what the child wants. Because in every case, every child wants to get out of here. But there's no question that as Morris's advocate, that I want him to go home, and my preference is that the children should be home with their parents as opposed to, detained in a detention center.
You knew you had a court hearing, didn't want to come.
I was scared. They said it would be too easy placement.
So you run away. Well, I'm not going to recommend that you go home. I'm going to try to keep you staying here so we can work something out.
I'm telling you, it's not going to work, sir.
Okay, come on. Something's going to work. Let's go back to work. You're not going to run around like a chicken with your head.
Probation officer Gordon Fleming is convinced that Morris needs more time with special care and rehabilitation. Don Ruck will argue that he should go home. But at the end of the day, it's Judge Bonaventura who will make the decision.
Sir, I think I understand your testimony to be that because Morris is not as available or participating with these services to the extent that you think appropriate, that he should just remain locked up.
Well, I'm basing that upon him running away from home, his mother not knowing where he is, and she was having a hard time controlling him and reasoning with him. He has failed a couple of drug tests. Morris has told me on several occasions that whatever I do is not going to work.
So you had previously recommended that he undergo anger management, and you had recommended family counseling and counseling services. Why don't we let it work itself through some more? Let's let this counseling take hold, the anger management take hold, before we say the answer is just to keep him locked up.
Well, that would be fine, but Morris has tended to befriend some young men. One, for instance, who was shot the other day in a drive-by shooting. Young people that he's been associating with. I believe it's safer for Morris to be here for us to work with Morris.
So now it's an issue of him being safe?
Well, that's one of the issues, yes.
Okay. That's all I have, Judge.
Anything else, Mrs. Guzik?
Mr. Fleming, just to reiterate, though, the main issue is you fear that Morris won't be present for future hearings.
Yes.
And that's based on his past behavior.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
No further questions, Judge. Morris, when you didn't come to court on July 24th, did your mother come?
Yes.
Have there been other times when you leave the home without your mom's permission?
Yes.
When you go to school, do you go to school every day?
Yes.
Your attendance is perfect?
Yes.
Judge, can I have a brief moment with my client?
Go ahead.
Okay. Be honest. I'm telling you, she's got all the records from your school. Listen to the question and answer it honestly. Don't make it worse.
Anything else, Mrs. Guzik?
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Ruck?
Judge, I would call Morris's mother, Angel, to the stand, please. If the court were to decide that Morris need not be locked up any longer, would you be willing to have him released to your custody?
I'm always willing, but I just wonder if that's what's best for him.
Well, do you think it's best to keep him locked up?
Here, no, I don't. But as far as what helps, I know that there is a problem and he does need some help.
Does he recognize there's a problem?
Yes, he does.
Why do you say that?
We discussed it and he does admit that there is an anger problem.
And do you think that it's appropriate that he go home with you?
I'll try.
That's what you want to do?
I'll try.
After listening to all the arguments and assessing the witnesses, I would say that the mother, Mrs. Mosley, certainly, gave her heartfelt testimony. And I could feel for her as a parent when she said she's willing, but I also think what she didn't go on to say, which I think she probably would admit to, is that he's a little bit of a handful for her. More importantly to me is that he's out on the street doing some very dangerous things. And if we all know that when you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. So this young man has been living on the street or between friends or doing something that he shouldn't be doing, all because he was afraid to come to court. He endangered himself and maybe others. And for those reasons, the court is going to order that he remain detained pending his next hearing because there's an unlikelihood that he will appear for a subsequent hearing. Are there any questions? All right, then this hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Want to say anything to your mother?
I'll see you at 1:30.
You're right. He won't be calling me out from my place.
Okay, it's okay. I'll see you at 1:30, all right? And you're gonna be all right. I'll be here all day, every day.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too.
Hang in there. I certainly understand why the court did what it did. There's not a solid support structure in place where this mother is saying, don't worry about it, I'm going to take care of this problem and he's going to be back again. While I certainly was advocating for him to go home and would have liked to have seen that, I understand the court's decision.
Three weeks have passed since Morris's last hearing. In that time, he's remained detained, while court specialists have determined what's in his best interest. Today, he'll go back in front of the judge to find out what that is.
Okay, keep your hands behind your back.
Judge might send me to placement. Well, she probably might give me house arrest. If I was talking to the judge right now, I'd tell her, I'm trying to do better. I know I got a problem.
Relax up.
If you send me home and trust me, I'm gonna show you I can work my problem out with my whole family.
Well, Morris, you remember some time back we went through a detention hearing where you talked about your background, your history, and what you wanted to have happen, correct?
Yes.
Now, we're not going to go through all of that for today's hearing. All I want to know, Morris, is what you've learned since you've been locked up.
Well, when I learned since I've been detained was I know how to control my anger. And then I would like to go home with my family.
And can the court and can your mother believe you right now when you're saying that?
Yes. Me and my father.
Can you look them in the eye and tell them that you're going to fully comply with everything?
I'm gonna fully comply. I'm gonna do better. I'm trying to change my life. I don't want to be angry. I got a problem, I admit it.
What's your problem?
I have an anger problem.
That's all I have, Judge.
Mrs. Guzik, anything?
Morris, you said you couldn't go to your therapy appointments because the therapist came when you were sleeping. She came too early, or he came too early. What part of your smoking marijuana played into that?
I don't smoke in the morning time.
Well, when do you smoke?
Tell you the truth, Probably around in the afternoon.
How did your running away from home in July until mid-August prevent you from meeting with your therapist?
I didn't run away.
So your mom knew where you were at?
No, she didn't know where I was at.
So you were a runaway?
Her boyfriend see me, my sister see me. I would come home and I would spend the night downstairs. She wouldn't even know it.
You're telling me people in your house knew you were sleeping in that house at night when there was a runaway report out for you? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
And they didn't tell your mother you were in the house?
They told her, but she ain't never seen
You said
it.
enough. Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Ruck, anything else?
All I would say, Judge, is that being locked up, sitting here, does something, and I believe it has for Morris. I would suggest that we move in increments. We move in increments from where he was before with no real restrictions, just you need to do what we're telling you you're going to do, to now we're going to put a bracelet around your ankle and make sure that you're doing what we say you're going to do. Before we jump to the most severe conclusion, the recommendation that he be shipped off away from his family and his brothers and sisters who he hasn't seen in a very long time. So I would just ask that the court give some credence to what he said in the stand today. Thank you.
Judge, we've heard that Morris has done some soul searching while he's been detained for the last 3 weeks and apparently has seen the light. I'm not sure what light it is he's seen. What I've heard is a person that's still not taking responsibility for anything that he does. He's not going to get services unless this court takes him and puts him in a place where he can receive services, and he desperately needs services. I think that probation's recommendation for placement should be followed.
This is a difficult case for me for a lot of reasons. I think that this is a mom, too. I remember from the last hearing, she said, I'm always willing, you know, always willing. And that's, to me, the sign of a really great mother. But at the same time, she acknowledges and admits that maybe he's not ready to come home. I mean, we've got a young man who's punching holes in the wall. We have a young man who's abusing drugs, and we've got a young man who left home for 4 or 5 or 6 weeks to avoid his mother because he knew there would be a conflict. And so that worries me that he's going to put himself in a situation that's going to become dangerous for him. So for all of those reasons, today the court is going to order that he be placed at Campagna Academy, and I'll order that his family participate in family counseling along with him so that he can return home sooner than later. All right. This hearing's adjourned. Thank you.
Say goodbye to your parents.
It's for the best. It's for the best. I love you too, and I'll see you. We get to see you there. Okay.
I think Morris is a stinker. Good luck. And I think that he gives his mother a run for her money. He's not to the point where he's really a danger to other people. So I don't see him as a hardened criminal at this point in his life. It's my job and the job of the juvenile court system to make sure he doesn't get to that point.